Welcome to the inSHAPE Fitness Show. I'm Coach Kim, and today is New Year's Eve. And so today's podcast is about the new year, but today is special because not only are we celebrating a new year, we are celebrating a new decade. So this podcast is called A Decade in Fitness, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about all of the exciting and crazy things that have happened in this last decade of fitness. Maybe not all of them, because a lot of them probably should be forgotten completely. But some interesting trends obviously developed. And certainly if you're listening to this podcast, you are someone who is using technology in a way to get information, to listen to me talk about the way that you approach exercise, the way that you think about the fitting in of exercise regimens, the scheduling of your workouts, whether a workout is a workout, and all the different things that I like to talk about on the inSHAPE Fitness Show once a week and have been doing now for like 4 years. So that's the first fitness trend really, would be the use of podcasting as a model for exercise as a practice in regular life. 10 years ago, no one was podcasting, or very few people probably were podcasting. There was radio. So really this is radio exercise. And I'm not even having you do any exercises, though I always mention, and I will do so right now, that when you're listening to my voice, it's really important for or really crucial and can be really beneficial for you as just a regular sedentary person. Maybe you're walking around your apartment or your home and doing, different tasks while you listen in here, or maybe you're in the office. But if you can sit up straight or stand up straight and make sure that your shoulders are back, do a little postural systems check. It's a really great way to just think about, focus on the way that your body functions physically, because your brain and your body are not two different things. Your work, your productivity, your happiness and fulfillment in your life is connected to the health of your body in many, many, many ways. I know that you know that, or you wouldn't be listening to me talk about it right now. So definitely think about where your head is in terms of your neck. Make sure that your head is back. Your ears and your shoulders should line up vertically. That helps the center of your gravity, because when you lean your head too far forward, you've got that heavy head. It weighs 10 or 11 pounds. And that's a big piece of equipment. And if it's not where it's supposed to be, then your center of gravity is shifting and you don't even realize it, but you're putting undue pressure on different other parts of your body as you move around. So that's that. Then your shoulders are back. Your tummy muscles are activated through a zip up kind of a mental process where you pull in and up with your belly button, and then tuck in your tailbone. Make sure that your feet don't turn out. You want to keep your feet straight and parallel to one another. And then lastly, make sure that you are pressing into the floor wherever you are. Try not to ever, unless you're in a ballet position and you're purposely doing this, but you want to make sure that you're making contact with your floor in equal measure between the right leg and the left leg, right foot, left foot. Okay? Because right-legged people, right-dominant people tend to, kind of rest on the right hip. I see it all the time on the subway platform or standing online at like a grocery store. Likewise with left-handed people, they do the same thing on the other side. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure you stand up straight. And if you're a girl, this is a really good time. If you're doing a postural systems check, do a little, pelvic floor work, little Kegel exercises as you're thinking about the way that you're standing, your posture. So the first trend, and this is something that's going to continue, is for people to listen to the podcasting model for taking good care of yourself, for teaching yourself, continual education, and being caught up on things like exercise and the news is something through podcasting that has really made a mark on my life, on our company, and on lots and lots of the clients that I see, because it's an added way for you to, it's sort of a multitasking thing, because if you're listening in on, some exercise trend that I'm talking about, some topic that relates to health, you're likely doing something else at the same time. So you're multitasking. And I think one of the other things we've learned in the last few years is, maybe for sure in the last decade, is that the whole idea of multitasking is a little bit hypocritical. Like, it's not really possible for your brain to focus on multiple things at the same time. And so slowing down and taking part in each activity, biting off a morsel of something that you want to know, something that you want to master, and then ingesting it and really digesting it is definitely a principle that is beginning to surface a little bit more. Hopefully that will be a trend that continues. As I get older, I like the concept of multitasking less and less. I still do it because I am a business owner. I'm an elected official. I'm a mother. I manage a house. I have an aging, couple of parents, et cetera, et cetera. So I know I've still got to do it. But podcasting in terms of exercise has made a huge difference in terms of the ability to just get a short little thing in. No longer, so the most important trend that I think has really developed over the last decade is that 10 years ago, everyone was committed to a session, like a workout. It had to be an hour. It had to be 45 minutes. It had to, at the very least, be 30 minutes. But it definitely was more around the idea of sessions and workout regimens that lasted a period of time that was a real commitment. And we're learning that you don't really need that. We knew back then that, as scientists knew for a long time that you didn't really need to elevate your heart rate over a period of 20 to 30 minutes in order to get benefits. Just taking the stairs a couple times per day and elevating your heart rate for a minute, it counts. It doesn't count the same exact way, but in terms of your functional existence, your life, your vitality, it counts. So we're coming out of the 2010s or coming out of 2019 knowing and starting to practice through podcasting, and then this general knowledge that it is okay to do a 5-minute session. It is okay to take 10 minutes in the morning and do a quick workout, because it all counts. It's okay to do a minute of stretching or just jumping jacks or push-ups or something to rev up your body. It all counts. So those are the first two really basic trends. I don't want to take more than 20 minutes of your day talking about this, because by the time we get to tomorrow and we're in the new year, I know we're all going to be focused on super exciting things, like in the United States at least, things like our presidential election and the crazy impeachment process, and lots of things related to our economy and our work, and then kids go back to school, and it's just, everything, you hit the ground running and then you're off and you're doing your thing. If you're setting New Year's resolutions, we're still doing them. So that's one thing that's consistent. People don't talk about them as much as they did 10 years ago. We were really focused, at least at our company, on starting the year and really promoting the idea of kicking off the new year with a new approach to exercise. I don't think you really need to do that. As I said in the very, very beginning, every single morning presents an opportunity for you to take a step forward, for you to think about the way that you approach your health and your exercise regimens in a productive way. And the thing about New Year's resolutions is that we know that they don't work. So why set yourself up to fail by creating these lofty sort of goals, like I'm going to lose 20 pounds by the summer, or I'm going to, or start, running and run a marathon in the next couple of months. Those are kinds of things that I remember trying to help people move towards, and they're laudable goals. And I certainly wouldn't want to discourage people from having any particular goal about fitness, but the new year is not necessarily the time to set those goals, because it is a very uphill battle to try in January to do certain things with your body. We have less light, so we have seasonal affective disorder through the winter months when it gets dark early and people are inside more. It's cold out. The elements are not conducive for most people to be outside and enjoy activity as much as they do in the summer months. It's really just tough. And this decade has shown us that there are lots of ways to structure a fresh approach to your exercise regimen. And as I said, I think the coolest thing is for you to get up every morning and do just a little bit, 5 minutes, the functional 5. That's something that inSHAPE came up with over this last decade, probably in the last 5 years, the concept of picking 5 exercises. Pick 5 exercises that you can do really well, that you will do really well because you're going to practice them. Approach it from an educational perspective and learn how to execute, for example, a proper push-up. It's not rocket science. It is not easy to do. You do have to sometimes start on your knees. And a lot of clients, I have a lot of clients that I have do push-ups against the wall. One of the really exciting things that we've learned just in the last year is that it's possible, at least from that Harvard study that I've referenced earlier in the year, that the number of push-ups has a little bit of a relationship to life expectancy, which is a stretch to say, but it's it sounds a little corny, but there was a study and it was conclusive, at least in terms of the study, that there were middle-aged men, there weren't women in this study, but men who were studied over a period of, I believe it was 10 years, and the number of push-ups, if they could execute 40 push-ups, their ability to function, their probability of developing cardiovascular disorders as they aged was mitigated by the aerobic capacity that is needed to execute 40 push-ups without stopping. Now, 40 push-ups is a lot of push-ups, but if you can execute them against a wall, which I'll bet you can, try executing them on your knees. And even if you're fit, 40 push-ups is hard on your knees. However, then you begin the work of training your body to be able to execute 40 push-ups on your feet. And once you can get to that point, then that's something to try and maintain. Not that you need to do 40 push-ups every day. I do them once a week now because I do 21 push-ups every morning. As you may or may not know, the functional 5, going back to that for a second, that I do is a version of the 5 Tibetans that I've adopted for my own personal life, right? I mean, I'm fit in my 50s and I have never been fitter. However, I exercise a lot with clients, right? So I'm running with clients in Central Park. I do lots of different things on my own in terms of running races with my daughter and, biking, etc. However, I get up every single morning and I hightail it to my floor in the living room and I exercise every single day, no matter what else I'm doing, because it's not about burning calories. It's about maintaining my health. It's about the function of my lungs and my heart, my brain, my liver. And the thing about excess body weight, so this is the downward trend. This is something that you really want to make sure that you understand about this decade. Something really, really important happened in the United States in this decade that we need to pay attention to, which is that our life expectancy is starting to trend down. Who knew? I mean, we spend in the United States more money on health and fitness and drugs to maintain our health and fitness than any other country in the world. And we're not even getting anything out of it. macro level, think about just the populace of our entire country. So, and then there are a lot of sort of acute things that happened there, the opioid crisis and actually suicides, things like that. Those are on the rise, as it were, in terms of our that macro sort of analysis. But the really amazing thing is something that you don't want to ignore. Life expectancy in this decade, the first time, just in the last few years actually, but it is now a trend. We can talk about it in terms of the decade. We have flatlined in terms of life expectancy. That is unprecedented. So getting up to exercise in the morning is not, for me, about vanity, although I do a lot of things nowadays upside down just to like sort of contrast the sinking of like the wrinkles and stuff that I feel like gravity's weighing down on my face, my skin. So I have taken to doing things like handstands and forward rolls and goofy things like that just to be silly. But every single day I execute at least 5 exercises, and it takes no longer than 10 minutes. And that is something that you can do, and you do not need anything else for in terms of weights or programming. There are tons of podcast workouts on the other inSHAPE Fitness channel. It's called Muscle Maintenance, and you can go, and I typically do about a 20 or 25 minute workout, and I do those once a week. You probably know that already because I'm pretty sure, looking at the data, there's a lot of overlap between the listeners of this channel and that channel. But yesterday, for example, I did a holiday high intensity workout, holiday hit, and they're just short little workouts, and they never involve equipment except for maybe a wall or a table or a chair, because that is the mission of our company, to teach exercise principles that are lifelong adaptable principles that require nothing but the equipment that you're born with. So one of the other trends that I want to talk about, there are just a couple of other trends that I want to talk about. One of the other trends that I want to talk about is how many, not really a trend per se, but just some of the fads that have come in and sort of dwindled away over the last 10 years. It was 10 years ago, was in 2009, and all the rage really was yoga and Pilates. It was yoga and Pilates requests coming out of my ears. It was a little bit then starting to be about kettlebells as well. But as you probably have noticed, now yoga is sticking around. Of course, yoga is thousands and thousands of years old, right? In terms of the idea of the practice of yoga itself. So yoga is not going anywhere. Flexibility, because of our sedentary lifestyles, the ability for our joints to operate, which is to move about, conduct a range of motion for your arms, your head, your fingers, your hips, your knees, your ankles, your toes, all of those, your spine, obviously. The range of your joints motions is of key interest or key significance in terms of your ability to function as a human being. And because we sit for such a long period of time, one great trend is that we may be sitting a little bit less. We are moving around a little bit more. And I don't know how good that is in terms of like economic conditions, because fewer people are working in office settings. People are gigging and doing things at home, and so therefore they're mobile and they're moving around a little bit more. But we're obviously still dealing with the conditions of sedentary existence, and we will be for another 100 years, would be my guess. But when you do sit down for long periods of time, and that head, remember I talked about this at the beginning, when this postural systems check, when your head is craned forward because you're staring at a screen or looking down at a keyboard or a device, your center of gravity is off. But the other thing that's happening is that the cervical part of your spine is not in its correct position, and therefore losing its ability to move about all the various joints of the spine. And that, in conjunction with things like your hip inflexibility and your knee inflexibility and ankles, etc., all makes for a really lifelong interest in the concept, the modality that is called yoga. Though the spiritual component of it may come and go, I think we're going to continue to see yoga maintain its level. But the idea of Pilates as the way to develop your core or maintain your core is, kind of withered away a little bit, as did kettlebells, because they were so injurious to people. Most people can't lift 25, 30 pounds of weight over their heads, swing them around without, torque in the back and ruining the shoulders and so on. So we definitely, I'm glad to see that some of those trends have some of those fads came and then have gone away. What we also did see were things like boot camps and HIIT, high intensity interval training, things like the Tough Mudder and extreme level of workouts sort of come, and they're sticking around a little bit, but maybe not so much, which I think is good, because again, it's great to push yourself. And if you are able to get through, high level strength, endurance competitions, recreational competitions, then you should do it, because anything where you compete is also communal. When you are out with other competitors, when you are working towards a finish line, that's just good for the soul, it's good for your humanity, and it's good for your body. But they are dangerous for people. And so once again, when you have a sedentary existence, you end up becoming like a weekend warrior, which is again not ever going away. That's not a fad. The weekend warrior approach to fitness is definitely sticking around, and let's embrace it for what it is. But try to add those daily workouts in the living room floor before you go to the office, in order to try and mitigate or offset some of those risks that are associated with sitting at an office all day and then going out and competing in whatever Spartan race or whatever it is. So those are good things, but you do have to be careful with the extreme sports. The last trend that I want to talk a little bit about is some of the online personal training work. And then I'll finish with just a couple of quick tips, because as I said, I really wanted to stick to about 20 minutes. We're already past that a little bit, but I tend to go over on these podcasts a little. The online training hasn't probably taken its full steps for quite some time. I think we're still trying to figure out how the technology works best for people. And there's this concept, this idea that it would be great if we could automate. I've seen a couple of things recently, the mirror piece of equipment, and tonal, which is another similar piece of equipment that relates to or includes a sort of an online trainer that is on your wall, a digital kind of format to exercise in your home, which is not a bad idea. And so how to deliver online customized training is going to continue to develop as we continue, obviously, in 2020. And I find that really, really exciting. I haven't used the mirror as a piece of equipment, and I haven't used this other piece of equipment that seems rather clunky. Mirror is cool because it literally looks just like a mirror. I think it is a mirror, but the concept that there's something in the home or in your office that will just kind of deliver a workout to you is a great thing. The problem is we still have the same problem that we've always had, which is, how do you figure out, how do we get people to actually do the workout? Because you can have a mirror, and then guess what? You've still got the mirror, and the mirror stays on your wall. The mirror will function as a mirror, and will the mirror end up being used as a workout tool? Will it change lives? I don't know. That's a big question. Are there other ways to deliver customized digital workouts that really get people to do what they need to do. Because at the end of the day, your body is your body. You're the only person who can make yourself get fit. It is not about the shoe. It is not about the clothes. It is not about the trainer. It's not about, the weight or anything else. It is about the choice that you make every day to take the time and take care of your body properly. I don't talk about food. I for a long time, actually 10 years ago, that was one thing that we were doing at inSHAPE Fitness, was talking a lot about nutrition, talking a lot about, ingredients that you should have in your kitchen, things that you shouldn't have in your kitchen, and so on and so on and so on. The only thing I'll say about what's happening for our company, for me as the leader of this company in this time in 2019 heading into 2020 is this. Don't buy anything that is single use. If you can help it, pack it in your home and carry stuff with you. We've got to start taking care of our planet better. In fact, one of the things I would really like to see as an industry is for the fitness industry to really embrace the concept of saving the environment. The footprint of the industry is huge. In most of America, we don't see this in New York quite as much, but in most of America, these 100,000-foot facilities that people go to, people drive to in order to get a workout in. I mean, it's a crime in terms, I say that loosely, in terms of what we're doing to our planet, when all we need to do is do a workout in our living room, go out for a run, and call it a day. I know that is oversimplifying it, but the concept of buying single-use plastic water bottles and plastic all the plastics that are consumed via the bars and the gels and the, individually wrapped, calories that people want to consume. We really, really, really need to, as a society, focus on how much consumption hurts the planet. And so as you start 2020, celebrate the end of 2019, which, oh my gosh, I'm so glad to be ending this year for so many reasons. We're going to start fresh. 2020 is a new year. 2020 is going to be super exciting in the United States of America for lots of political reasons and, lots of exciting reasons, hopefully for you and for your family. Set a goal. If you want to set a fitness goal, do something in your community that is active, whether it is to go out and help community gardens or collect trash. Those are exercises, by the way. Okay, so keep that in mind. Or to maybe go and run a charity run and contribute to your community that way. Everyone can participate in a 5K because you can walk for 3 miles. Everyone can really participate in a 10K, though I know that's scary to people. But sign up for it all. Do something in your community that gets you out of your comfort zone and puts you on a path to taking good care of yourself. And then the last thing I'll say is, it's my favorite piece of advice. Pick 5 exercises, do them every day, master them, practice them, learn them, master them, and then do them every single day. If you need help selecting those 5 exercises, let me know. But Happy New Year. I'll be back next week with another podcast, and I will see you in 2020.